You want me to make the new Smash Bros. Game? You know I'm gonna ruin it, right? Alright, as long as I get paid. Alright. Who should I get to help me with this? I know just the person. Echo?
I'm sorry, I'm going through a tunnel. I can't hear you right now. Yep, definitely a tunnel.
Nice talk. Okay, who else can I get to help me?
Hello? Hey, so just woke up. Do you calling me? Speaking of which, why are you calling me? Not to be rude, I'm just, you usually send me a text first.
Shiro, I've got something much more important than whatever fantasy you made up for yourself in your dream.
Okay, how important though? Because I was just having a dream of me and my penguin bestie going on journeys like Ashe and Pikachu. You're telling me, what you got is more important? I'll hear you out at least.
I need your help with a video.
Oh, okay. Okay, so first you threaten to buy my cafe. Then, you think you can just ask me to collab with you on your next video? Oh no. No. You got some nerve, sir. You got some nerve.
What if I said you actually got to make half of the video instead of just weighing your input like last time?
Wait, you're telling me I actually get to have influence on this list? Like, the picks I present are my picks? Well, why didn't you say so earlier? Alright, let's do this shit!
In this video, I'm going to be making a brand new Super Smash Bros. Game. Every series will get a brand new fighter and stage attached to it.
And with him is his co-host, broadcasting live from the Matsunoki Cafe, Shiro. So, sit down with your cup of joe and enjoy this feature presentation that we have cooked up for you.
Okay, everyone, I think it's time. Everybody wants this guy in. They've memed on every corner of the internet, being in all the party games, the sports games, the kart games. I'm gonna stop listing stuff because I can't think of any more. That's right, the one, the only person who's gonna get the invitation sniped by Paper Mario. So there's really a lot you can do from Paper Mario because he has 6 games and 3 of them are good. We could have Koops or Cooper be kicked forward with like a side B, for example, or have Parrot Carry fly us back to the stage with an up B. These are just examples I'm throwing out. Or we could even have Flurry crush enemies with her Cloud Breeds. Body slam in battle, squashing your enemies with her stage presence. And of course Mario's gonna have his classic jumping hammer to hit enemies with. And for a stage we could do something like the Castle of Shadows from the Thousand Year Door because we already have Bowser's Castle from Sticker Star and it was already used in 64, so we don't need another Bowser's Castle or just another Sticker Star rep because no.
When they make this new Smash Bros, they promote on the box art how this game comes with a funky mode. That's right everyone, our new Donkey Kong rep is the one, the only, the monkey that calls your opinions fucking stupid. Funky Kong. Will he fight with his fists like Donkey Kong? No. He fights with a surfboard, cause that's cool. No, but seriously, I think that would be fun. I'm just imagining DK's spin move, but with Funky Kong holding out his surfboard and hoping he slaps people away with it. It's goofy, but it's Smash Bros. Goofy stuff like this is commonplace, so let's include him.
I'm far from a Zelda nerd, but I hear one thing constantly, and that's that Giraham is a constantly requested character, so let's use this guy. So Giraham is a villain from Skyward Sword. His weapon will obviously be a sword, and for all you people who are like, no, swords, but shut up. Alright, now listen. So in the cutscenes and gameplay, Giraham teleports around the battlefield, so we could use that into his moveset to make him sort of tricky to hit, and you have to run around to catch up to him. As well as that, he can also dual wield and use a broadsword. He can also dual wield and use a broadsword in his gameplay, so let's also incorporate those weapons into his moveset. His final smash should absolutely be this moment when he sexually harasses Link in the opening cutscene.
Okay, Kirby, another series I've played next to no games from. I feel like as this list goes on, it's going to become increasingly obvious which series I've played and which ones I haven't. Anyway, my original idea was to include Marks, but he was already included as a boss in Ultimate, so I decided against including them in the end. Let's go with a different Kirby villain, Magolor. As someone who has little experience with Kirby lore, just from a view of his design, I can imagine him having moves where he launches his detached hands outward to hit from afar, like a Rayman type move. Plus for his final smash, have him go into his final boss form and destroy the arena. Just nuke it. So Metroid was a hard series to pick a new fighter from, mostly because all the mainstays are here and accounted for. Also, I've never played a Metroid game, so time to do what I can do best in this situation. Use Google. Okay, let's see. Aha! Adam Malkovich. I've heard his name in passing before. I'm sure we can make a good moveset from him. Okay. No. No, I couldn't. He's a military genius according to the wiki and appears to be good with guns, so I guess we can make him a zoner type sharpshooter of a character. Sort of like Mega Man, where a lot of his moveset is shooting enemies from afar. I'm sorry for the underwhelming pick, everyone, but hey, maybe this is cool for the small amount of other M fans out there.
So for Yoshi, I was originally going to use the dog, but I feel so bad putting this poor boy into combat. He didn't do anything wrong, and honestly, there's not much we can really do for him except making him tackle the opponents and stuff. So I'm going to use Birdo. I know technically not a Yoshi character, but it's the closest I'm going to get, as well as that they're paired together in all the sports games and the kart games, so it kind of makes sense. Although Birdo is a boss fight in Superstar Saga, so we could use some of her moves from that. She can spit rocks at Mario or Luigi. When you kill her sugar daddy, she gets mad and tries to give you the sock. She can also eat you and put you into eggs, so that's also a fun move we can use even if Yoshi already has it, but Birdo's already going to be somewhat of an echo fighter. She's also in all the bad Paper Mario games, and she has this dream of being a performer of some kind, so I guess her final smash could be her putting on a stage show and then blowing up the stage.
On to a series that has been with me for as long as I can remember, Pokemon. Now, a lot of the Pokemon entries in Smash are starter Pokemon across the various generations. Pikachu, the Pokemon trainer is basically a 3-for-1 deal with starters, Greninja, and Incineroar. So, it made sense that with Scarlet and Violet now out, we would pick one of the new starters for a spot on this roster. The Grass and Fire starters, Meowscarda and Skeledirge, were up for consideration. As much as it would have been cool to have a grass starter in Smash, we already have a cat-like Pokemon who stands on 2 feet. So come here, my Crocs, son! I picked Skeledirge mainly for the same thing a lot of people were hoping to get from Sprigatito's final evolution. This boy is on all fours. No, seriously, that's why. The only Pokemon we have from Ultimate on all fours is Ivysaur, who is only 1/3 of the trainer's moveset. And Skeledirge being on all fours naturally leads into a cool moveset. Instead of having typical punches and kicks like Incineroar, Skeledirge can crawl around and smack opponents with its tail or chomp down on them with its jaws. You can incorporate its signature move, Torch Song, into its neutral special. As a long-range option, have Skeledirge shoot off its Firebird to strike enemies from afar. And I can imagine the final smash having Skeledirge terrestrialize and sing out a giant inferno to blow the enemies away. As for the stage, I think the Academy is the perfect place. Have the stage be similar to Garrick Mach, where it moves the fighters around different parts of the school. It'd be awesome.
Crystal, I've never played a Star Fox game, but based on her trophy description, she's a brawler capable of telepathy and a valued member of the Star Fox team, so yeah, I guess we've got a fan favorite character and someone who uses a unique weapon. That should satisfy people, hopefully. It won't satisfy people. Smash fans are the people who will always be upset about everything. We use her telepathy to inflict like status effects like freeze and stuff. As well as that, she also has a staff in Smash Ultimate, so we can probably use that as a weapon. I think it would make her a unique fighter if she's like a status effect user instead of just a typical fighter. I think it'd be interesting to throw that into the game. As well as that, if we use telepathy, her final smash can be something similar to Mewtwo's, where it's like confused and then like Mewtwo snaps his fingers and then their brain hurts. Yeah, we could do something like that. I'm sorry I don't have too much to say about it. I've never played a Star Fox game, so I have no idea what she can do. Earthbound, another game I've never played. Okay, Ninten's a protagonist, and we haven't put him in the game yet, so sure, we'll use him. Looking at his wiki, he seems very similar to Ness, so I guess we just make him an Echo Fighter of him, except switch some of his PK abilities around to make him a little bit unique. I really can't say anything more about Ninten except making him an Echo Fighter, because even his Smash Ultimate Trophy is just to make Ness and Lucas's PK skills stronger. So yeah, I guess we're just gonna make Ninten an Echo Fighter. I'm sorry. What else can I say about him? I'm given nothing to work with.
Okay, let's see here. Looking at the list of racers from F-Zero. Wait, go back up. Mighty Gazelle. Or Gazelle. Either way, pretty sweet name. What's he all about? Oh, dang, that's a neat design. Okay, we'll include him. Alright, jokes aside, there's one other reason I'm including Mighty Gazelle. You see, Captain Falcon is the series protagonist, so I figured including a character from the Nintendo 64's F-Zero X would be a good call. And yeah, Mighty Gazelle just stuck out to me. I have no clue what kind of moveset you could give him, but I'm sure you can just make one up from pretty much nothing like we did with the Captain.
There's very little to this NES game. It's a goddamn NES game. You know what? This Pterodactyl. Him. Instead of a futuristic, monstrous pterodactyl that destroys bounty hunters, we're gonna have a realistic pterodactyl. It's gonna be able to roar, bite, use its wings, etc. You guys know what a pterodactyl is, and if you don't, go look at an image on Google, dummy.
Another obvious pick. Our new Fire Emblem fighter is Engage's own crest baby, Alear. Now, I haven't played Engage at the time of writing this script, but I do know the main gimmick to the game is the emblem rings. These rings allow the wearer to channel the power of heroes from previous entries of the series, such as Marth, Roy, Ike, and Lucina. I want Alear to incorporate this into their moveset in a similar fashion to Shulk's Monado arts. Have a wheel appear when you hold down a button and select which hero you want to channel the power of. Alear's moveset will change slightly to incorporate a weapon the hero is proficient in. You select Lyn from the list and you're able to use bows for some moves, stuff like that. However, one thing I want to make clear is that we don't include any heroes who are also fighters in Smash. Alear won't channel the power of Marth or Lucina, mainly because I want Alear's entire moveset to stand out and not be too similar to the rest of the Fire Emblem roster. As for the stage, again, I haven't played Engage, so I can't say anything on that. So we'll let you, the viewers, decide what could make a cool stage for this Engage entry. Same goes for any series we may skip over a stage for.
The hell do you want me to do for the Game & Watch series? I got it. Done. Yeah, this works.
So, who do we include for Kid Icarus? We already have Pit, Dark Pit, Mommy. Now, who else?
Hades?
Who's Hades?
The true master of the underworld.
Sorry to keep you waiting, but now that I'm here, let's get this party started. Welcome to my underworld, Pretty Pat. You too, Pretty Fella.
Ooh, Hades will definitely do. The primary antagonist of Kid Icarus Uprising, Hades has a fantastic design, and his inclusion would be a pretty decent surprise if he actually was added in a future Smash game. Yes, he's a massive lad, but we can shrink him down like we did with Ridley. Explain he's projecting a smaller version of him to have more fun tormenting the other fighters. That's all we need. You could have him launch undead soldiers as projectiles, cast magic to enhance his punches and kicks, stuff like that. I can see his Final Smash being him growing to his actual size and just crushing the opponents under his huge fist.
If you've never played a WarioWare game, imagine your favorite character from any game ever. Make them a woman if they're not already. Give them an I don't give a shit about you attitude. There you go, that's Ashley. Ashley's one of the game developers at WarioWare Inc. Ashley's one of the game developers who works at WarioWare Inc. She's a gothy witch with a I don't give a shit about my friend's attitude, which is true because she doesn't have friends. Everyone in this room is an acquaintance. For her being a mage, I feel like she could be a unique fighter with a wand as a weapon instead of a sword, as well as that she'll be fighting what comes out of the wand instead of the wand itself. She can also fly on a broomstick, so we can probably use that as her recovery move. Also, if you're playing with items, since Ashley's minigames are all food themed, she she can turn items into food to heal herself instead. I think that would be a neat mechanic which we've never seen before. Ashley's Mansion will definitely be the stage. It can be sort of like WarioWare Inc., except specifically her minigames from throughout the series, because she has some good ones and some of my favorites from the WarioWare collection. Also, her final smash absolutely has to be...
Okay.
Ryden. I'm including Ryden. Do I need to explain why? I do? Okay. Ryden was introduced in Metal Gear Solid 2, being the main player character in place of the iconic Solid Snake. Speaking of iconic, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Ryden's solo entry is one of the most popular games of the whole Metal Gear series, and for one very good reason.
The memes.
Now, is he another sword fighter? Yes. But I can imagine him being similar to Mithra, in that it's a rush-down sort of swordsman. He zips around the stage and strikes his enemies with quick slashes. However, we will give him a move that's slower but does more damage. If it does connect, there will be a split second where time slows down and the music fades out, similar to Jack's Focus mechanic in Rising. Also, here's another worthy counterpoint to including another sword fighter. The chance to include "It Has to Be This Way" as a song in Smash Bros. Think of all the meme material that one edition could bring to the internet. It would be absolutely nuts. Heck, that isn't the only song from Rising that would be included if we added Ryden to the roster. So yeah, there you go. Include Ryden for the memes. You heard it here first, folks.
There's only 4 Sonic characters I can in good conscience recommend. Those are Tails, Knuckles, Eggman, and the character I'm going with, Shadow. But instead, Shadow will not just be a copy of Sonic like everyone's expecting. Shadow has a ton of good moves in his arsenal. He has guns, vehicles, all the Sonic Adventure 2 upgrades, but we can make a full moveset just from this dumpster fire of a game. Atomic Blast is a team attack with Sonic, so obviously we can't put that into his moveset, but we can put Chaos Blast, which is a blast of energy with chaos control. There's also Chaos Rift, where Shadow casually opens a dimension to the Shadow Realm. And then there's also Chaos Spear, which we see in multiple Sonic games, where Shadow just throws a spear of energy at the enemy. So his final smash could be going Super Shadow, and that could be cool, but I have a better idea. Let's summon in all the members of Team Dark, and have them do their Team Blast from Sonic Heroes. I think that would be significantly better than Super Sonic, and also set them apart from the Hedgehog. Also, the stage has got to be the Starfall Islands. The game will automatically select one of the 5. The Tree Islands. And then, of course, the stage hazard will be the Titan of that island coming to wreck up some shit.
Is he hitting Gangnam Style?
Captain Brittany is my pick for the new Pikmin character. I'm sorry for the pun there, but that's really all I got. I tried to avoid Echo Fighters as much as I could for this list, but I couldn't help it with this one. Brittany will play the same as Alamar or Alf. There's honestly not much you can really do with this series. Again, I haven't played any Pikmin games, so maybe I overlooked something. If there are any Pikmin fans who want to give us a better option for a new Pikmin character, let us know in the comments.
Sorry to kind of cop out for this, but there's no Rob series game, so instead I suggest we do something different. We use our toys from the past and become items. You can throw Hanafuda cards, set a baseball launcher to throw baseballs, the love tester to practice self-care. Something like these could be interesting.
Now, there are a lot of potential characters to choose from when talking about Mega Man. I was originally considering Mega Man X for this new roster slot, but I decided to scrap the idea since he'd pretty much be an Echo Fighter of the classic Blue Bomber. For this list, again, I want to avoid including Echo Fighters as much as possible. And so, my actual pick for the new Mega Man character is X's best friend in red, Zero. To be more specific, we're using the version of Zero from the Zero games. One, because his original design was already used in Marvel vs. Capcom, so the different designs would be a neat way of making Smash's Zero feel relatively new. But Also because the GBA games give us a good amount of material to base a moveset off of. Zero doesn't just have his well-known Z-Saber to fight with, he gathers a whole arsenal of weapons across his 4 games. Similar to Byleth, his normal attacks would use his Z-Saber, while his special moves would use the other weapons. The chain rod would be good at covering long range, it would help him latch on to the side of platforms from a distance, so basically the chain rod would be his up special. The recoil rod would make a good side smash attack to hit up close, and the shield boomerang can be his down special to parry projectile moves. For his stage, since we're focusing on the Zero games, my pick will be Neo Arcadia. As a side note, if this version of Zero gets picked in a Smash game, the alternate colors are already there for you. Zero 2 already has a feature where you can change the color of Zero's armor to give him different stat boosts and unique abilities, so there you go, there's your color wheel.
So for Animal Crossing, I decided the new fighter would be Tom Nook. This is mostly because that he's the only one from Animal Crossing I feel like, aside from like KK Slider, that has the recognizability to be a new fighter from Smash Brothers. So some stuff he could do is we can make the stage Nook's Granny, and he can be sort of an echo fighter to Isabelle and Villager. He can have some similar moves, but it can be like sort of different to Isabelle and Villager in the same way that like Isabelle's different to Villager. Maybe by doing stuff that he'd need to do to run Nook's Cranny, or by dropping different sorts of items, or dropping a bag of bells, because you know he likes to saddle the players with debt. That could be pretty fun. I feel like the final smash for Tom Nook would have to be something like dropping a ton of debt on the player because of how much debt they saddle. It could be like Isabelle's final smash where like he summons Tommy and Timmy, the 2 little gremlins, and they just blow up the house that they built. Or just drop a giant bag of bells. Either one works for me, honestly.
Wii Fit. SL, what do I do with this? What other character do I pick out from Wii? Oh my god. I just got the greatest idea ever. Our addition from Wii Fit. The Wii Fit Board. Yes, really, the Wii Fit Board. We have Rob. Why can't we include another product into this game? Have their moveset center around, stretching out and hidden from afar. You know, just this Wii Fit Board is made out of rubber. I think a gag character like them would be absolutely perfect. Alright, how has Smash not done this before? Come on.
Now, I never played the Punch-Out series, but after watching gameplay from the Wii game, I decided that King Hippo would be the perfect fighter to include in Smash. Due to his large posture, we could even take inspiration from fighters like King Dedede and King K. Rool. Apart from that, he can also be somewhat of an echo to Little Mac, but also taking in aspects from other fighters with similar body size to him. He can throw punches, use King K. Rool's reflecting counter on enemies. He can just lunge his body at them because look at him, not the body shame, but look at him. As well as that, we don't have a lot of heavyweights. We have some, but not enough. So I feel like this is the worthy heavyweight to add. I just feel like it could be an entertaining fighter.
Now, the Miis are an interesting inclusion, to say the very least. They are technically 3 different fighters, with the biggest difference between them being their moveset and listed class: Brawler, Sword Fighter, and Gunner. So why don't we include new classes for Miis? The Basher and the Lancer, lovingly demonstrated through whatever random characters SL chooses to put on screen. The Basher will carry a hammer, trading slow swings for heavy damage. The Lancer will be similar to the Sword Fighter, except having a much longer range for their attacks.
So for Pac-Man, I haven't played too many of the Pac-Man games that have a giant story like Pac-World and stuff like that. But I feel like if I had to add one fighter from the Pac-Man series, it'd have to be Miss Pac-Man, because it's sort of this situation where we were in with Animal Crossing, because Miss Pac has some defining features. They got the lipstick, they got the pink bow, but it's mainly going to be an echo fighter. I feel like there isn't too much we can do with Miss Pac-Man to differentiate from the Pac-Man himself. So yeah, we're going to go with Miss Pac for the Pac-Man franchise.
For a third character from the Xenoblade series, well, technically fourth, but mad details, it's a no-brainer to go with Noah. While we could use the class system to give himself multiple weapons, we already did that with Zero, so he'll be a more standard sword fighter. The trick with him is that he uses his sheathed sword with his normal attacks, while his smash attacks will have him unsheathed Lucky 7 to hit really hard. For his final smash, I envision him and Mio going into their Ouroboros form and pulling off Noah's special, where he surfs on his giant sword and spins like a buzzsaw to slice the enemy. And we'll make the stage that comes with him Everblight Plain.
So I don't really know what I can do with the Duck Hunt franchise because it's the Duck Hunt franchise. There isn't too much I can really do with that. Sorry. I mean, look at this footage on screen. What do you really want me to do with the Duck Hunt franchise? There's no characters in Duck Hunt. You have a toy gun and you shoot it at the screen.
Now, a new character from Street Fighter was pretty obvious if you're familiar with the series at all. The third Street Fighter character has to be the Queen of Thighs herself, Chun-Li. She's one of the most iconic female characters in gaming, and when you think about main trio in Street Fighter, it's Ryu, Ken, and Chun-Li. Since Street Fighter 6 is coming out soon, this new Smash game will likely use their newer designs for the roster. There's not really much to say here with how Chun-Li would fight. She's already a fighting game character, so just incorporate parts of her moveset into Smash. I can see her being a fast character who can strike the opponent with a flurry of quick kicks at a second's notice, but that's about it. As for the stage, again, looking at Street Fighter 6, Metro City is just the obvious pick.
So that's an interesting idea for Final Fantasy. Let's not do Final Fantasy 7. Instead, I propose we make the main character Titus. Titus has moves like Haste and Cheer, which he can use to make himself stronger in battle. As well as that, he has all his abilities from the game. We could also give him a sword from Final Fantasy to give him a unique sword from all the other sword fighters to set him apart. And of course, the stage has to be Zanarkand, one of the big locations from Final Fantasy X. And if you're so upset with me about not using Final Fantasy 7 stuff, fine. Zack will be our fighter. Shut up, Twitter. And we'll also go to somewhere in Midgar. I'm sorry, I haven't played Crisis Core yet. I'll get to it eventually, I promise.
Alright, so we have Simon and Richter for Castlevania reps so far. While we could include another Belmont onto the roster, there's a much more interesting character who deserves an inclusion in Smash. The one and only, except no he isn't, Alucard. He's got a super long sword in the show, which is what he'll use for some of his attacks here in Smash Bros. The rest of his moveset will be powerful kicks that show off some excellent footwork. In other words, a more close-ranged version of Simon and Richter.
So for Bayonetta, I feel like it's only really possible to add in Bayonetta's white-haired girlfriend. So admittedly, I didn't watch too much gameplay from the game because I am interested in getting into the series at some point potentially, but I did look up a little bit to create a good enough moveset. So in Bayonetta 2, it seems like she has very similar gameplay to the other Bayonetta rep that we already have in, so we can copy over a few similar combos, but I do have some ideas to make her more unique. While I was watching gameplay, I saw that she has the ability to shapeshift into a tiger and this worm thing, so each one could be its own separate attack. As well as that, she also rides a motorbike in one of the cutscenes, so we could have her use summon a motorbike sometimes, because there's no other fighter in Smash that uses vehicle gameplay except for Wario, but I mean, Wario doesn't have handguns strapped to their boots. As well as that in Bayonetta 3 she has, like, stealth gameplay, akin to Metal Gear Solid in a way, so we could have her incorporate her stealth kills into the game. Plus her final smash can be different because she summons other demons, like yes, she does summon this one, but she does also summon other ones in Bayonetta 2, which we can use as inspiration for a new final smash to at least make it at least visually different, even if not functionally different.
Alright, with this entry, we're working on a technicality. On the list of entries, they don't label Joker as being from Persona. His home series is labeled as Persona 5. Because of that, I felt like I should follow suit and include another Phantom Thief onto the roster. And as much as I'd love to include our pancake-loving detective, Kasumi was the poster child of Royal, so she's way more natural of an inclusion for the roster. Her acrobatics and swift rapier strikes would make her a fun character to play with, especially when her neutral special would be the infamous gun.
For his neutral special, he wields a gun.
As for the stage that would come with her, the laboratory from Royal's third semester. Again, Kasumi was basically the poster child of Royal, so the new dungeon they added in the enhanced version is just the natural choice.
So for Splatoon, we should add in the Octolings. This is because with the Splatoon 2 DLC, you can now play as an Octoling whenever you want, and you can even do that from the get-go with base game Splatoon 3. They're mainly going to be an Echo Fighter. I suppose we can do something with tentacles because they are Octolings, but I feel like there's not much you can really do with it because they play the exact same as an Inkling. I mean, I guess we could make the final smash like summoning the villain from Splatoon 1. We could do something like that, but there's not much we can really do different. I know I'm kind of copying out and saying that for most of them, but that's because there isn't much to really say about it. It's an Octoling. It plays the exact same as an Inkling. There isn't much I can say, no matter how much I want to.
I wanted to include a character from Dragon Quest XI, since that's a more recent entry. I wasn't sure who to pick at first, but I finally settled on Jade. She's a martial artist who fights with fisticuffs and spears, so why not give her both to work with? Similar to my vision of Alucard, we can divide her moveset between her close range punches and her spear attacks that cover a longer range. Maybe give her a lot of spear options in the air so she could potentially juggle enemies. Sounds just broken enough to still be fun.
So what's unique about Gruntilda is that during her final boss fight, she'll summon her broomstick which she can use to fly around. I think once she summons it, and the same will go for Ashley, who I mentioned in the WarioWare segment, they stay on their broomstick until they're knocked off it by just any regular attack. Gruntilda will also shoot fireballs as a player. This would function similar to Sora's Firaga or Mario or Luigi's Fireball. In her boss fight, she also summons a barrier which will make her invulnerable to Banjo or Kazooie's attacks. This of course will not be as busted in Smash, it would only activate as sort of like a block. To fill out the blank spaces in her moveset, we can also draw on other witches from pop culture, adding more spells, doing more uniquely witch things and stuff like that. And her final smash would be turning into her human form, which is a much more agile and stronger Gruntilda.
Alright, here's the thing. Fatal Fury is an SNK fighting game series that is one part of the greater King of Fighters series, which crossed over every video game property SNK owned. There's way more development held to that story, but that's the general idea to King of Fighters. Originally, I was going to include a character specifically from Fatal Fury onto the roster, since just like Persona 5, Terry's credited as coming from Fatal Fury and not King of Fighters, but in the reveal trailer for Terry, they showed Yori, a character only from King of Fighters, so shut up, KOF as a whole counts. Originally, I was going to put the first protagonist of King of Fighters, Kyo, as our new character, but I decided against it. With a fiery entrance into the arena, everybody welcome, Iori Yagami. Iori is a highly popular character in the series to this day, and it's easy to see why. He's the edgy rival to our hero after all, and I just know that upon saying that, SL is just going to put up a picture of Shadow the Hedgehog. I just know him so well. His playstyle in KOF centers around Rushdown with a spice of long range. Get it? Spice? Okay, I'll stop. However, due to his more complex moveset, it's easy for the other player to punish his moves and keep him from doing too much damage. He'll be a hard character for newcomers to get a hold of, but he'll be top tier if you put in the time to master his set. Just like Chun-Li, it's easy to form a moveset with Iori since he's already a fighting game character.
Let's cast our minds back to 2020 when we didn't know who the next Smash fighter for ARMS was going to be, and then we found out and we were disappointed. So yeah, we're going to use that guy. We can switch out his arms to make him a little bit different from Binmin, but there's not much we can really do. It's a silly ARMS games with a player base of 4 people.
Oh god. Minecraft, yet another series I'm having a hard time picking a character from. So I'm just gonna cop out and add Jesse from Minecraft Story Mode here as an Echo Fighter of Steve and Alex. Look, I've barely ever touched Minecraft, and to be honest, I can't think of any other character or Minecraft enemy we could use here for a roster spot. Jesse, where the hell are you right now? Yo, Mr. White, I got an invitation to join Smash Bros. I'm hanging out with Sonic the Hedgehog. Those are my best Walter White and Jesse impressions. I haven't watched Breaking Bad yet. I'm sorry.
I feel like for Kingdom Hearts we had to use Roxas. I feel like no one else could fit the role of a new fighter as well as he could. So with Roxas being able to wield 2 Keyblades at once, he'll be able to pull off more combos than Sora. So Roxas will be a more combo character than Sora is. As well as that, he's also able to carry out attacks faster because of the aforementioned 2 Keyblades. As well as that, all the organization members, and I don't want to hear this Roxas wasn't in the organization because look at the coat he's wearing. Yes, he was. Because Roxas was in the organization, he's able to use a certain type of magic because all the organization members had their own affinity to one element, and Roxas was light. And since he's in the organization, he's able to use the power of darkness, since they were an evil group. So we can use light and dark magic instead of Fundaga, Faraga, and Blizzaga to make him differentiate from Sora. As well as that, Roxas has a ton of alternate costumes which we can use. As well as that, with the heavy coat Roxas has on, he can be heavier than Sora as another way to differentiate from the chosen one of the Keyblade. We have a ton of outfit options for Roxas. He has his organization coat, his Kingdom Hearts 2 outfit, his Kingdom Hearts 3 outfit, his Kingdom Hearts 4 concept art, and he can even have a few organization members. This one I don't remember the name of, Axel, Sayax, with their unique weapon covering the Keyblades, of course.
Let's not beat around the bush here. Kazuya is our only Tekken rep in Smash, so if we were to add a new Tekken character, it has to be Kazuya's son, Jin Kazama. He was the main character of the Tekken Bloodline anime on Netflix, so he's as much of the poster boy for the series as his dad. As for how he'd play in Smash, I can imagine his moveset being similar to Kazuya's, but not Echo Fighter similar. After all, both have access to the Devil Gene, that's why they can transform into monsters, and why they both don't have bald heads like Kazuya's dad, Heihachi. Yes, that is a real piece of official lore from the Tekken games. The Devil Gene cures male pattern baldness. Jin's attacks won't do as much. Still losing it up with the fucking Devil Gene. Jin's attacks won't do as much damage as Kazuya, but they will come out a lot faster. I can also imagine Jin being a lot easier to pull off arrow combos with compared to Kazuya.
For one of my new fighters, I decided to add Leon from Resident Evil, but not just him. This moveset would be very copy-paste with anyone else who got added from Resident Evil. I decided all his alternate costumes would be other protagonists. Claire, Chris, Jill, Carlos, etc, etc. His neutral special will obviously be gun.
It's a gun.
We could do something like all his specials could be every type of gun you could get in the game, like down special would be whipping out a shotgun, or side B would be a machine gun. His recovery could be a grapple hook because he has a grappling hook in Resident Evil 4. As well as that, his final smash would obviously be summoning one of the titans to come and fight, be it Nemesis, Mr. X, Jack Baker, the tall booba lady. I think this could be a fun fighter if it's worked in well. Especially with that, all these characters have something special about them. Leon can do a stellar roundhouse kick I kinda want him to do to me. Chris can punch this shit out of a boulder. Also, Jill and Claire have the forever young and sexy virus inside them, as fans call it. No, let me do another take of that. And okay, I'm sorry, I'll compose myself. Also, Jill and Claire have the forever young and sexy virus, as the fans have been calling it, so we can manipulate that for a moveset if we need to. And while Chris has never been infected, Leon has been temporarily infected by a virus, so it's not out of the question that he could use some powers from that as well. The stage for Resident Evil should be RPD, the iconic location of Resident Evil 2 and a fan favorite location. Other locations could include the Baker House, the Village, the Other Village, and many other places throughout the Resident Evil series, because everywhere they go to Resident Evil is iconic in some way or another. The next character I'd bring in is Phoenix Wright. I'll just wait for you guys to stop laughing. Okay, we should be good to go. Surprisingly, Phoenix has quite a few moves that could be useful in Smash. We could use a side B or a down B as a desk slam, or
Hold it! Objection! Take that!
as well as that, this isn't the first fighting game he's ever been in. He was a fighter in Marvel vs. Capcom. While yes, one of the harder characters to play, he was still in there. His final smash would obviously be all the characters coming in to say, we have a ton of costumes we could implement, changing into Apollo, Athena, Edgeworth, the other prosecutors and lawyers for the series. Hell, maybe even Maya should get a chance.
Alright, time for the new characters. I decided on 2 new characters I want to include, each from a series that has yet to get any representation in Smash's roster. My first pick, Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia. As much as I'd like to have included Velvet, she's in the same camp as 2B and Waluigi as characters too sexy for Smash, so our boy in red is our next best bet. And we're not going to let him being a Mii costume stop us now, are we? The combos he can pull off in his own game would be cool to see replicated to some extent in a Smash Bros match. Plus I can see techs like Demon Fang being incorporated into his special moves. And obviously his final smash has to be his mystic art, it just makes sense. My other chosen fighter is Soul Bad Guy from Guilty Gear. As another character from a fighting game, his fighting style is easy to translate into Smash Bros. It's especially easy now that Strive Zone basically simplified his moveset. Just Gorilla Brain, go stupid, go crazy, and you just wreck the field. And yes, just to be clear, we are using Strive's version of Soul for both the design, voice, and for the basis of his move pool. Because, look at this beefcake of a man. Why wouldn't you want this in your Smash Bros? Come on. Come on.
Alright guys, that's all the characters we plan to introduce in this video. Wow, what a roster. This is going to be the best Smash game ever. New Smash game for 2024 confirmed. So, with that, thank you guys for sticking through to the end. I say it every time, I know, but thank you guys so much. Please stick to the end so I get my watch time up and you actually hear what I have to say. I'd like you to go subscribe to Shiro. Big help on this video. He's one of my best friends on the internet, so I'd really appreciate if you guys went and subscribed to him. As well as that, you should also subscribe to me, because I also need the love and affection. But you should also subscribe to my second channel, which is a podcast with Shiro. I promise we will get back to some point in the future. You should also go to the description, check the link in the description for my link tree, which will send you to all my social medias. And I also live stream on Twitch now instead of YouTube, so you should go follow my Twitch channel if you like seeing me play games live, or if you just like seeing people play games live, because I do that thing. Yeah, I'd really like that to grow, so please follow my Twitch. With that, that's all I want to say in this video. Bye everyone.